Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining another Lead Squared webinar. I am Shivani and I host some of these webinar sessions. You may have got an email or two from me at some point. So this session is specifically on ACE, the end-to-end sales performance suite. Now this is technically our second session on ACE. We had one a couple of months ago and I think we will see a lot of you who joined that session. We will see some of you there today here as well. So this is basically a follow-up of that session. And I also know a whole bunch of you are new to this. So I'm really hoping you find value in what we have to offer and then perhaps take a demo of it. So in this session, I have Siddharth and Abhishek with me, who are basically the main people behind this product ACE, and there are several others, of course, but they will walk us through what ACE can really do for your business. And not just them, we will also hear from a customer. So it's not just us talking about the capabilities of this product. We will also hear from a customer. So maybe I just want to touch upon some of the things that we will talk about before I dive into the speakers. So we will talk about the overall business impact that ACE can have on your business, and how to really set it up. So in this session, we have our existing customers as well as prospective customers who will hopefully become a customer one day. So we have a mix of both. So we just want to show you overall what value it adds to your business and how you can set it up. We will touch upon some of the use cases across industries. So where be it education, BFSI, healthcare, hospitality, and so on. It's useful to a variety of industries. And of course, we will do a walkthrough of the ACE module and the latest updates to it. So having said that, now I'll just give a moment to the speakers to introduce themselves. We have Abhishek and Siddharth here. So Abhishek, why don't you go first? Please tell us about your experience at Lead Square and your role behind ACE.
Certainly, Shivan. Uh, uh, Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this particular session. First things first, before I introduce myself, I really wanted to let you all know that this session is definitely going to be worthwhile session for all of you, for all of your time, basically. Why? Because we certainly don't have just some decks to show or just some conversations to have. We literally have a very a demo of our actual product, where we have essentially taken some very familiar sales life cycle use cases to show you how essentially a tool like this can help you better your sales performance, right? So that with that particular thing, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Abhishek Jain. So I had this entire product called ACE. I've been part of Lead Squad for more than 3 years now, right? And this is something that we have been working for almost like 1.5 years on this, and we have put a lot of efforts on this to essentially make sure that our customers can literally benefit out of this particular product and improve their sales performance, just like all the other products inside Lead Squad, right? To improve their sales efficiency. So yeah, so that's about me. Over to you, Siddharth.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. Thanks, Shivani, for setting the stage. I think thanks, and also thank you everyone for tuning into this another webinar session. Right, I'm sure it's going to be worthwhile and really exciting. So, without any further delay, I'll just quickly introduce myself and what I basically do at Lead Squad and for ACE. So, I take care of the product growth aspect, and I've been part of both Lead Squad and ACE for around a year now. And it has been a tremendous journey. I've been working with several customers across scale, across domain, and we've discovered several use cases and which have actually helped us reshape our product, and we are trying to get it even better as different cycles pass, right? So we have Abhishek today. He'll walk you through what we have currently developed, right? And it's going to be an exciting presentation and an equally exciting working session with Abhishek. So yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Yeah, just before I leave the stage, Abhishek, just a quick note to the audience here, and my chat is exploding. Like, there's so
Yes.
many messages coming in, which is great. Great to see all the enthusiasm. If you have questions, please put it there. We will take them up probably towards the end of the session. But Siddharth here will be helping out, answering a few as well over chat. So with that, I'm just going to step away for a bit. Post demo, we will hear from our customer as well. All right, over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Shivani. Okay. So before we jump ahead, obviously, I would actually like all of you to introduce to what the product is, and then quickly give a live demo. But I'll make sure that I keep the presentation brief, because I understand we all are here to look at the product, but it is also important that before I talk about the product, we all see just like a quick gist of what exactly the product is and get acquainted with what exactly it aims to do, and then we'll jump onto the live demo. So if that works, guys, please be with me here. Please post your emojis and reactions and post your questions on the chat. We have Siddharth Sharma here from my team, and he'll be able to address any questions that essentially you might have about this particular demo right there in the chat. So yeah, with that, let's begin. I'll quickly share my screen, and I'll be hoping if please give me a thumbs up if you can all see my screen. Perfect. Thank you so much. The reactions are pouring in. Just love seeing that. What a wonderful audience, and what a wonderful evening. Thank you. Great. So yeah, so before I jump ahead, I wanted to just quickly highlight what exactly we're going to talk about. We're going to quickly introduce you all to ACE, how ACE and sales efficiency essentially correlates. Obviously, with at Lead Squad, whatever we do, it is always about improving your sales efficiency, right? So nothing below that. It's always about improving your sales efficiency. So we'll essentially help you understand how it also improves your sales efficiencies, and some of the business outcomes that essentially we have learned over the time while working with customers, to essentially show you how using this particular product will drive your business to better directions, right? So obviously, whatever we invest, we have to basically get a return out of that, right? So that's something that we're going to talk about, and then we definitely going to do a live demo. And with that, essentially, we also want to just bring some of our beta partners. Now that we are out of our beta phase, but we still call them our beta partners because they were the ones who essentially tried our product, gave us constant feedback, and helped us improve the product on a day-to-day basis, right? So we'll have Karthik from Upgrad, and we'll have Ronak from Teachment during our panel discussions, and we'll obviously, the entire panel discussion will be led by Siddharth. Right. So having said that, I'll quickly jump onto this particular and the most important slide about why we have built ACE. Right. So the whole idea is that when you look at Lead Squad in general as a CRM tool, right, we have a lot of products and features that we have built at every touch point of a sales workflow, right? So if you see at capture phase, we have lead campaigns, we have landing pages. We essentially also make sure that there are zero lead leakages, right? So those are certain things that essentially we have made sure that every lead that essentially comes or has to come to your system comes to your system with all the possible sources, and there is zero lead leakages, right? So that is one thing that essentially we ensure that at Lead Squad you can capture your leads, right? So obviously there we make sure that you have a very robust sales efficiency, because a lead lost is a business lost, right? So having said that, again, on the process phase, we have a lot of tools like automations, forms and processes, developer platforms, and batch jobs, and a lot of connectors, right? And this essentially helps you build any kind of sales workflow that your business demands, right? So having said that, obviously, a lot of you are familiar with the power of automations and forms and processes that we have at Lead Squad. And then at Interact and at a regular conversation level, we have smart views, we have Converse, we have chatbots as well, so that you can interact internally with your team and you can interact with your leads as well, right? So that again is a tool that there are a lot of tools that we essentially help improve sales efficiency, right? But what about users, right? What we see, if I have to give you all an analogy, right? Imagine that you have shipped a product from United States to India, right? And let's say that particular product comes from United States to India in, let's say, 2 weeks or 3 weeks by air or by cargo, right? But what if that particular product doesn't reach you at your doorstep, right? Even in 2 weeks, or it takes you 1 week, right? Imagine it actually has increased the time for delivery by 50%, right? So the last mile efficiency is always important. And in a very similar manner, last mile efficiency is very important in a sales performance or in a sales workflow as well, right? So, and that's where we have introduced ACE, and that's where ACE essentially helps you improve your performance and in return improve your sales efficiency at a broader scale, at a business level or entire business level, right? So that's fundamentally what the idea is. And before like so you essentially can plan better, you can remove the entire manual effort of setting up your performance metrics across organizations, and you essentially obviously improve your efficiency because of that, right? So having said that, this is one of the most important slides that we are really proud of, and we aim to build, right? This basically is our vision. So basically ACE aims to be a sales performance management suite, right? Currently, we are primarily live with goals as achievements, or goals as objectives, or targets as achievements, whatever you want to call it, right? And it aims to build a lot of tools around sales performance, where incentives and payouts and gamifications, nudges, insights and forecasting, and performance analytics, right? So these are certain things that we essentially plan to build around ACE as a sales performance management tool, right? But we have a very robust framework right now at this point of time to allow you to create goals and measure achievements at an organization scale, right? And then be it an organization of less than 50 users, or be it an organization of more than 500 users, right? So that's the scale that essentially we work. You be an SMB or be an enterprise customer, this solution, what we have built, works for you, right? So that's fundamentally the idea. So having said that, right, now that I say that, just wanted to quickly touch upon the fact that what exactly ACE is, how it is built, right? So it's primarily built on Lead Squared as an architecture, as a platform. Now, basically, if you are a Lead Squared customer, I can proudly and I can very confidently say that there is no better sales performance tool that you would be able to use, right? The way it is built, the way it is built on Lead Squared is like it's a seamless integration, and everything that you do in Lead Squared is just available for you in this particular tool for you to measure your sales performance, right? And obviously we have made sure, and you will see these things, how easy to use this particular product is when I actually show you the live demo, right? And obviously this is also built on a big data technology, so you might have megabytes, gigabytes of data, or terabytes of data. I mean, nobody has megabytes of data these days, but yeah, just to let you know that any amount of data is something that you might have, and we will be able to generate your achievement reports on top of it, right? So obviously that's it. That's one of the reasons that we have built it, right? So that the integration is seamless, and the usage of that is again seamless, right? So that's fundamentally the idea. Great. Yeah, fair enough, right? So with that, essentially, I would like to essentially also talk about some of the things that now takes us towards our demo, right? But before that, I actually like to also touch upon some of the important goals and metrics that essentially you will be able to create, right? So what you see right now in your screen, these are just examples. The product is not limited to just that, right? These are some of the examples that we have taken across organization, across different verticals, across size of the organizations, right? So what you see now is that, I mean, you will be able to create goals at a revenue level. You'll be able to create goals of any lead funnel, right? You might have leads, you want to track goals and measure achievements just at the lead generated state, or you might also want to generate or also you might want to measure your achievements when the lead is converted, right? So any lead stage funnel is something that you will be able to set your targets on, right? And obviously, having said that, calling targets, demo targets, all of these things, as long as you are able to track these things on Lead Squared, you'll be able to track the goals using ACE, right? That's fundamentally the idea. So having said that, before we jump onto the demo, I would like to take a quick example, right? And this example will help us understand how our product is structured, right? So in this screen, what you see now is a typical organization hierarchy, right? And this is the exact organization hierarchy that we have also replicated in the demo, and that's essentially what I'm trying to show you here. So imagine there's a CXO or CEO named Nikit Kaul, and he essentially has planned to generate 1.92 CR worth of revenue in the financial year 2021 and 2022, right? So basically, how would that particular CEO or CXO plan and break that particular goal down of the organization, of himself or the entire organization, to his reportees and then subsequent to the organization hierarchy below, people who reports to Nikit and people who reports to Ashish and Yatharth, right? Things like that. So how essentially, and that's essentially what we have learned over the time, that it becomes important, and it is important for the organizations who are fundamentally sales driven and right and has a lot of sales activities that are happening. It becomes important that the entire sales team is looking towards that North Star metric, right? Which could be revenue and obviously associated effort-based metrics as well. So in this case, what you see is the North Star, or the most important metric is that in this year or in the financial year 2022, you're supposed to, or the entire organization is supposed to achieve, let's say, a revenue worth of 1.92 CR, right? Then all Nikit, and this is the entire year goal. What Nikit can do is he just has to break that down, break that goal down into monthly goals, and that's not limited to that. He can break down that to quarterly goals or yearly goals or weekly goals as well, right? But in this case, for simplicity, what we've taken is that Nikit breaks that yearly goal into monthly goal and assigns that goal to his reportees, right? So basically what you would see is that Nikit assigns goals to Ashish, Nitin, Meena and Sneha, and breaks that 1.92 into monthly goals and then further divides it to these four people. And then what you see now is that these folks are what do you say, region heads, and then they further break that down into their respective reportees. So what you see now is that you basically see that Yatharth essentially, Ashish assigns goals to Yatharth, Bhushan and Inaz and Rinku, right? And they further break that goal down into their reportees. And then the breaking down of goal is just not limited to revenue. Yatharth can essentially also give certain other goals like lead conversion or lead generation or leads in interested stage or calling goals or demo goals, and something that we'll essentially show you in the next subsequent demo, right? So this is a typical organization hierarchy, and all essentially now the respective managers are supposed to do is they're just supposed to reach out to the admin and just basically say that, hey, these are some of the metrics that essentially we want to configure, and that would very easily be configured by the admin and which can be reused across organization hierarchy, right? So that's fundamentally the idea. So having said that, right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reshare my screen to show you all the actual product demo, right? So for a second, what you'll see a blink, but yeah. So I believe my screen is visible now to everyone. I think perfect. Okay, great. So I believe the screen is visible to everyone now. So great. So what you see now is that I essentially showed you all an example of that particular organization hierarchy, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the same organization hierarchy in this particular tool, in this particular view as well. So obviously what you see is lead squared. And what I'm going to show you is this particular organization hierarchy, which I was showing you there. So there's Nikit call, and then Nikit call essentially has these reportees, 4 reportees, and those 4 reportees subsequently have their reportees under them, right? So this exactly is what we have created to show you and help you understand how a typical organization works, and we have created this structure for you. Now, with that particular thing in mind, right, obviously any particular organization would not just have revenue generation goals. So what you all can also do is you can essentially create goals at every stage of your funnel, right? The goals that are at the top of the funnel to the goals that are at the middle of the funnel and the goals that are at the bottom of the funnel. Obviously, in this case, if you see revenue pipeline and revenue generation would be the goals at the bottom of the funnel level, right? Whereas demo done and calls connected will be the goals that are at the middle of the funnel. And your leads interested and your leads generated will be the goals at the top of the funnel, right? So that's predominantly what you would see here. And I'm just going to show you something where how Nikit will be able to see goals of the entire organization, right? So this is basically what you see is a monthly goal created by Nikit for his team, right? And as you know that Nikit has 4 reportees, and just to let you all know that I've been logged in as Nikit call, right, which you can see here. So Nikit opens this, and all Nikit has to do is he has assigned the goals of 4 lakh, 4 lakh, 4 lakh, 4 lakh each month to his team, right? He just has to worry about that. He doesn't have to worry about what Ashish's team is doing, what Meena's team is doing, or what Nitin and Sneha's team is doing, right? The achievements essentially starts accumulating at entire organization hierarchy level. So what you see is that I have logged in as the CEO, but I can actually see the goals of people who directly report to me, and also the people who are contributing to this particular goal, right? So I have jumped into Ashish's hierarchy, and then now I'm jumping into Yatharth's hierarchy. And what you see here is this is basically Nikit's team, and then you see Ashish here, and then you see Yatharth here, right? So that's basically what you're seeing here. So this exactly what happens. So every time Soumya does something, Reena does something, Mahesh does something, Akshay does something, it will get accumulated to Yatharth. And because of their work and Yatharth's work and Rinku's work, Ina's works and Bhushan's work, the achievements and the revenue will get accumulated at Ashish's level, and then eventually at Nikit's level as well, right? So that's the beauty of the system. What it does is you define one important metric or 2 important metric or 3 important metrics that are critical to your business, right? And you can make sure that that particular metric is followed across your organization hierarchy, and from the end sales rep to the CXO. Imagine that, right? Everyone is looking at that one particular hierarchy in real time. Like, we can just imagine, but yeah, that's essentially what we have right now. So, and obviously this is just the end view, right? What I've shown you, and I'll in the meantime I'll also show you how easy it is to create these things, right? We have made sure that even if managers can't create these goals, even if admins are creating, right, it becomes very easy for them to create and change these goals, because obviously we live in a dynamic world, and organizations change their metrics, organizations change their business function and the way they do business on a regular basis, right? And we have made sure that this particular tool can adapt to those changes, right? And the whole idea is that you change the metric today, and it can essentially be communicated back to your entire organization hierarchy. There's no manual effort of recalculating things. Automatically, all those things will essentially recalculate on its own, and it will show it to everyone, right? So I have logged in as Nikit, but if I essentially log in as Ashish as well, right? So I'm just going to do that. Since I'm an admin, I'm essentially able to see everyone's goal, but that essentially will not be the case if Ashish logs in, right? Because Ashish is not an admin. So now what I've done is I've logged in as Ashish, and I essentially what I see here is that I just see Ashish's hierarchy and all the contributions that Ashish's team has done, right? So it is basically leveraging your entire organization hierarchy in a beautiful manner, and it is essentially showing you these cards, which are basically your targets and your achievements, right? So that's basically what you see here, and this is your top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel goals. I'll just delve deep a bit more into this. What you see is your revenue pipeline. Obviously, your revenue pipeline will be more than your revenue generation, right? That's basically what you see here. And then certain other things that essentially you can see is that as and when the goal progress, you'll be able to see each and every month's achievement here, and you'll be able to see each and every individual's contributions as well, right? So that's basically what you'll be able to see here. And then as a CXO, you'll also be able to drill down till the bottom of the leaf. And as a middle level manager, you'll be able to still drill down to the bottom of the leaf of your organization, but from your level. That's basically the idea, right? So with that, what you see, everything else remains same, right? All these for simplicity are monthly goals. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to just quickly create one metric for you, and then I'm going to create one goal for you, right? So that you see the easiness of creating these goals and these metrics. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here. You see there are already these templates created, right? But I'm just going to quickly create one template for our example, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on. So let me just take an example of leads opportunity stage, right? Or rather, I would basically say, yeah, I mean, this example is good enough, right? And I'm not well deep into this, but one thing that I want to essentially ensure is that in any other sales performance tools, which essentially relies on the snapshot DB or the actual DB of your data, right? What they will never be able to do is they will never be able to set goals at a funnel level, because your leads changes your stages, right? If the data is taken from the snapshot table, how would you essentially make sure if the lead state changes, your achievements remain intact, right? You can't do that. But that is something that you will be able to do with this particular tool. All you have to do is you have to click on sticky on. But in this case, I'm just going to click on sticky off, or rather sticky on, because I believe that opportunity stage can change later. And I'm just going to click on sticky on in this case, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take lead as an entity, but I can always take activity also as an entity, and I can say sales activity in this case. But in this case, I'm going to take lead because obviously that's what we are trying to capture, lead in the opportunity stage. And I'm going to basically simply say that I'm going to count my lead and the prospect ID, or basically the ID of that particular lead. And what you also see here is that you see that you essentially can do some distinct count and count. These are the three different aggregations that are possible. And then basically what we'll do is we'll just quickly choose the field that essentially will give me who is the owner, or against whom I'm supposed to measure this particular achievement, right? I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to select on which field essentially gives me the date, right? So in this case, the created on gives me the date. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to basically say that I'm going to add one more condition. I'm going to add a couple of conditions, right? So one condition that I'm definitely going to add is the stage. So I'm going to say lead stage is an opportunity, right? And then I also make sure that lead source should be, let's say, in particular, organic search, right? That's just an example to you. And now you can add as many conditions as you want, right? And change the pattern here. In this case, I'm saying that both of these conditions should essentially be true. Only then I'll essentially measure someone's achievement, right? And you're free to add 10 more conditions and cater to any complex use case that you might have, right? We have seen a lot of simple use cases and we have seen a lot of complex use cases as well, and we have been able to cater that, right, in the last 6 months of our journey. So with that particular thing, you basically very clearly see what exactly is your metric. You can see here that the metric is measure achievement when lead is created or updated, and count it when the prospect ID, count the prospect ID of the lead, and identify the owner of the lead by the owner field, and identify the date of the field or the lead by created on field, right? And then there are these two conditions that essentially we created. That's all. So I just publish this, and this will be available for any manager or any admin to use at later point of time, right? In the same way, I'll just quickly create a revenue template as well, or a revenue generation, right? And what I'm going to do in this case, obviously, I'll take sticky as off, because revenue, if essentially it is lost, then you don't want to consider it anymore, and that's why I'll keep sticky as off. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a select sales activity here, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same process. In this case, I'm going to sum, and I'm going to sum the order value, and then I'm going to basically sum the sales owner. I'm going to use the sales owner to identify my user, and I'm going to use created on or sales date for, as a matter of fact, to identify my date. And in this case, a couple of conditions that I'll essentially add is sales activity is, obviously the status of the sales activity should be 1, right? That's obviously one of the most important criteria. And the another criteria could be that lead stage should be, say, customer, right? That's basically what the idea is. And again, in this case, I'm going to say both and, right? I'm going to add one more condition, just because I said we can add more conditions. I'm going to say lead sales activity could be the status or the, yeah. So the order value should be greater than 100, right? At least. So that's basically what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say all these conditions should be true. Save this, and I'm going to publish this. That's all. So what you see is that the metric creation itself is the way you think about your metrics is the way you create your metrics, right? So that's basically what the idea is. And you also visualize that in the similar manner, right? So you can very clearly see, and this exactly what can be visible to the end users as well. That's something that I'm going to show you, that in a very clear, descriptive manner, everyone knows what exactly are they supposed to post to make sure that their achievement gets accumulated, right? So that's done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just come here and quickly create a goal as a CXO, right? So Nikit is our CXO in this case, and I'm going to create a revenue goal. Now I just have to choose the template, right? So in this case, I'm gonna choose revenue generation template, or maybe the revenue gen template or the revenue generation template, whichever is the most optimum for me. In this case, let me just quickly create revenue generation template. Sorry, revenue gen template, because that's essentially what I created in front of you, right? So let me use this. And now I know that it's supposed to be a monthly goal, so I'll choose monthly. But you all can see that we can create daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, bi-weekly goals, quarterly goals, and yearly goals as well, right? So that's predominantly what the idea is. But in this case, I'm gonna quickly create a monthly goal, or maybe weekly goal. Why not, right? So I am tracking my revenue weekly. So in that case, I'll just say start of the week, which is Monday, and I'm basically gonna say it's gonna go till December, or maybe next year 2023, right? That's something that I'm basically gonna do. So I'm just gonna click here and I'm gonna choose. So what you can see is very clearly all the 52 weeks essentially will be created, and I'll just come here. And all I'm supposed to do as a manager is just choose all the people who are supposed to be part of the goal. I don't want to keep myself as part of this particular goal, so I'm just going to omit myself. And you can very easily import an Excel sheet as well that you can see here, right? So I have an Excel sheet here. I'll try to import that if I can, right? So goals, yeah. But yeah, I think the users are not there, so maybe some goals might be discarded. But let me just see. Yeah, but no, there are no goals that are discarded. So in a very matter of second, I just imported the Excel sheet, and you can see I've populated my goals for all the cycles, right? Since it's a weekly cycle, I've just added 8 weekly cycles. But you're free to come and add more cycles here, so you can very easily come here and add more goals, right? But I'm just going to publish this now, right? So it's that easy. I mean, it hardly took me a minute to essentially finish this, create this particular goal. I'm going to go back to make it call, and we'll be able to see the goal that I just created. Obviously, this particular metric that I've created does not have any matching entities posted, so you'll see 0%. But the idea here is to show you that if it's a weekly goal, you'll be able to go back and see historical weeks and the achievements of those people, and you'll be able to see the current week's achievement, and you'll be able to see this particular card, right? So just for the simplicity, I'm going to just show you also one thing, that you at any given point of time, you'll be able to come here and edit this particular goal. I'm sorry about that. I by mistake clicked on it. So let me just go back there. Yeah. At any given point of time, I can come here and I can edit the goal. I can change the values that I want. I can, in fact, I can also replace the metric essentially altogether, right? So I'll replace the metric, and you'll see the magic here. Altogether, you'll be able to see the achievements altogether now, right? So I'll just save this. I'm going to update this goal. And now, because I've updated the metric, what you'll see is that this particular metric actually now has some goals. Some achievements, right? So because I changed the metric, and any user at their end can just click on this particular icon, and they'll be able to see what exactly are they supposed to do to make sure that the revenue is done, right? So that's basically what the idea is. So yeah, so having said that, this in a nutshell is what ACE goals offer you, and these are the possibilities that essentially it offers you to do, right? So from top of the funnel to middle of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel, right? So yeah, that's essentially what ACE goals is in a nutshell. So I would like to invite Shivani back to the stage so that we can proceed with further sections of our webinar.
Thanks, Abhishek. So I believe we have an exciting video for everyone to watch before we bring our customer on. So that's where we are. Just give me a second while I pull up that video for everyone to see. So and then we will hear from the customer.
Yeah, this video is in a nutshell what we have shown you. Sorry, Shubhani, I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Yes, I was indeed. Okay. Hey, hi, Ronak. I'm just being.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, you are.
you are. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just
Uh,
wait for Siddharth also to join.
yeah. In the meantime, Ronak, why don't you tell us about yourself, please?
Yeah, so guys, this is Ronak here, and I have been working with Lead Square since last 2.5 years. And In fact, I am someone who has suggested so many features. And in fact, I would rather say that in this particular product, or I would say feature development or module development, I was one of the core members from
Yeah.
outside the company. So because me and Siddharth used to connect every here and then we used to I used to give him the practical scenarios which a company goes through. But the product has been so good, I would not deny on this part. Okay, well, first of all, introduction to myself. I
Yeah.
would not So this is Ronak here. I was working with MyGate since last 2.5 years. I was managing Lead Square from the perspective of implementation, customer support, everything possible from every process perspective. And I was also rolling in new businesses. I was implementing the other businesses, and I was trying to automate as much as processes as we can, so that we don't have to rely upon individuals at the end of the day. And Basically my work, so this is called business excellence, and recently I switched to this another company called Teachment. Here also I'm in this department called business excellence, which is responsible for automating things. So coming back to the module, yeah. So actually, the module was developed like everything has been kept in mind. So when I was implementing it for MyGate, so for example, in MyGate, we used to track targets by three methods. So for example, uh, there can be targets in the form of number of houses you are bringing, or I would say number of apartments you are bringing, or in terms of revenue you are bringing. So for example, Bangalore is a place where the apartments are not very big. Okay, the average size of apartment is really smaller. So the target was obviously based upon the number of apartments you get. Okay, for places like I would say Delhi, or I would say Mumbai, where there are so many high rises, it was always number of homes. So it was not number of apartment, because let's say if Bangalore guy is bringing 5 apartments and Delhi guy is bringing 1 apartment, but the number of homes do really differ a lot. है ना?
Correct.
So the I would say the target was based upon the number of homes you are bringing to the platform. And basically the third was the revenue. So basically second tier cities, where I would say the customer was not very inclined towards payments, because in India service is not considered as a payment kind of industry. Matlab, people think that it should be free.
Correct.
So that's why our revenue in second tier cities or three tier cities were always based upon revenue. Okay, so now considering we had all these three targets, different type of targets for the same team and for the same product, we were able to set up everything in Lead Square itself. And the most amazing part was that the system was able to automate the things. Automate the things. For example, it was able to calculate how many. Just a second, guys. Yeah. So it was able to calculate how many homes one is bringing, or how much revenue one is bringing, and how many apartments a person is bringing. So you could also see the progress in all three departments if you want. So that was the most amazing feature, I would say, because I feel this is quite I would say complicated implementation, and we were able to successfully implement it without any issues, and it was working out really fine. And after every month, it used to refresh us, and we could just go and just like check the things once, just give it a glance, and definitely our most of the work was done before the month starting. And everyone knows in sales that month starting and month end is the most complicated time you have, because you have to decide the incentives for everyone. You have to basically calculate the leaderboards. You have to basically look upon every perspective. You have to design the schemes for next month, seeing what was the result of the last month schemes. So actually goals help us to give that insights in a very better way. And yeah, it helped us to know about the markets very well. So I would say it's something which can actually be really helpful instead of maintaining so many Excel sheets and uh, after basically making so many logics there, rather automate the work and decrease the time on I would say for example, if you're doing MIS for 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day to calculate the leaderboards and to calculate the incentive and all of those things, you wouldn't require those system automate with the help of leads. So
Exactly.
yeah, I say my experience has been fantabulous with this particular module. And the main thing is that everything, I wouldn't say everything because there are so many business cases, but 90% of the things which I asked for, Siddharth had already thought of. Like literally, every module or every feature I could think of, it was there. Like 10-15% cases that happens. And that happens in every CRM, which is very normal. But 90% of the cases matching, that's incredible.
Awesome, Ronak. I think that was lovely of you to give such a detailed feedback about the product and how you've been using it. I still remember the days when I first had a demo with you, and that those were really initial days, right? Of I had
Yeah.
joined Lead Squad very fresh, and the product was fresh. We were still testing the waters. We were still in beta, and I remember coming back to Abhishek, and Abhishek was like, "Okay, who's this new customer that we are demoing it to?" And what are the prospects? Do they like the product and all of that, right? So we used to have these detailed discussions about MyGate, right? I remember the product was very in a very initial phase, and you suggested tons and tons of ideas, right? And
Yeah.
we really valued them. We are still trying to get, if not all, but a lot of them on our current roadmap, right? Some of them are already out and live for the customers to actually check for themselves, right? So, Ronak, again, speaking about the product, right? How do you think? I mean, you've already explained it, but I just wanted to get more perspective on the fact that see, you've changed companies, you've changed industries, right? And
Yeah.
you've one thing in common is probably Lead Squared and again Ace, right? So you used it for MyGate, which was solving a different problem, right? It was coming from a different industry domain altogether, and then now Teachment, right? So do you see parallels, right? And could you comment on ACE being an industry agnostic tool, right? And so that because I see a lot of questions here saying that, hey, can this be used in finance? Can this be used in banking, etc. Right? So would you like to comment on that as well?
Yeah. So I would definitely like to comment on this part. So as I described the MyGate case, for example, there were three parameters altogether for basically observing the performance of the people, or I would say the sales folks. Same, it can. So we tried implementing this in Teachment, and in fact, we have implemented it for Teach More. The thing is that it's a very so currently I was working in I would say it's a SaaS market only. So the first company was Migrate, and now currently I'm working in Teachment. So it's a edtech company, and here as well the product seems quite I would say useful because as I explained that it can be customized as per every industry. So for example, you just going in the technicalities of it, if you want to make the sum of the revenue as a target, if you want to just count the number of sales one has done, or if you want to see basically I would say different attributes altogether, that let's say for example you want to give different points for different sale, and for example let's say smaller apartments you will give different points, and you would give different points to the bigger apartments, or any kind of implementation, or your industry specific, or I would say your company specific is quite possible with this module. And yeah, it can be easily customized as per the need. That's what I feel.
Awesome, great, Ronak. I mean, it's really good to see that it's still of lot of value to you, and you're still utilizing it, right? That's wonderful, right? So, I mean, I think a lot of folks here would also want to know, right? I mean, also from it'll be very useful to me and Abhishek, right? Because we are still in building phase, and we are still adding a lot of functionalities, right, on top of the existing product. So wanted to know your take on, I mean, how did the onboarding journey work for you, right? I mean, was it too complicated? Because when it comes to implementation, a lot of times people will say that, hey, this is a software product, right? It has its own implementation cycle. It takes a lot of time for my team to actually get trained on this product. So wanted to know that, was it easy for you to grasp, right? Did it build
To be honest, I would say that see, at the end of the day, you need to understand a product or any software. Let's say if I'm using Lead Square as a product, I should know things in and out. and if I know things in and out, I can definitely easily understand this module. It wouldn't be too very complicated, to be honest. For example, if I'm using any cloud telephony solution, I would know things in and out. I would be definitely admin. I would be handling all of the things. I would know system-based settings. I would know how to play around with the system. So I feel it's not very difficult. From pro perspective, yeah, definitely you can understand it. But coming from, let's say you're not very pro at it, you have just started using the software. Again, I feel it's not very complicated if your base about the software is very clear how a software works.
Correct.
Or I would rather say that the UI is quite intuitive. You don't have to like mess around with the system or lot. For example, you don't have to make automations and such. You just have to just go feed some data to the system, and the system would just ask you whether like simple settings, for example, how you want to calculate the next month's target, all those things which are quite easy to understand. It's not difficult to understand. So yeah, from pro level, I would say it's a I would say like matter of minutes for you guys. And if you have just started using the system or lead square or I would say CRM, then I would say you would easily learn it. But obviously you would have to apply some of your brains.
Awesome. I think Ronak, it's tremendous, right? The audience doesn't even need us, right? When we have pro like you, right, who's using leads for such a long time. And regarding the UI aspect, I think UI and the functionality part, I think I'll give it.
Yeah, I would rather say that this is like I have seen Lead Square since last 3 years, and like I have seen Lead Square had so many things which are not there. Like I have seen the app which was not very useful, and now the app is more powerful than the web version. Like literally, it's beautiful when you use the app. It feels like that you are using some amazing kind of tech. Okay, so same, I do feel that this particular module feels like the future of Lead Square, to be honest. For example, now, for example, if you want to set up a system or implement some kind of processes in Lead Square, it would take some automations, it would take some processes, it would take some forms for you to build it. But here you wouldn't need anything. Like literally, you wouldn't need any of those. You would just fill in some, I would say, basic information, like 15 minutes of guide, and then it's done. Like it's done. Like it's I would rather say it's more like a futuristic module for Lead Square, and the way you implement it is totally different from normal Lead Square, I would say. So I feel Lead Square, matlab, it's more like a DIY kind of model where you would be able to do the things yourself, and you wouldn't even require any help from the teach me. I would say Lead Square team.
Thank you so much. That's kind of the catchy word that essentially is being used. No code platform. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what. In fact, I have noticed that, and in fact, I was able to understand the things in a very easy way. So I feel that I would say people who have just started using the platform would easily able to understand. That wouldn't be a problem for them, I feel.
Awesome.
Because obviously you said it's a no code thing, so it's more like a DIY kind of thing. If someone has made a website for themselves, it's just a drag and drop kind of option. So it's as simple as that. It's not drag and drop, obviously, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different way of making it. But yeah, it's as simple as that.
Awesome. Great. So I think before we maybe move forward or proceed towards the end of the session, right? I have just one last question, and I'll hand it over to Abhishek, Ronak. So in very simple, plain words, right? I'm being very blunt. Probably we have a lot of audience, right? And we also value their time, right? So in just one question, that why should someone pay for a module like ACE, right? It's as simple as that. I mean, that's the question I wanted to ask you, right? Like, why should someone pay for a module like ACE?
Is that a question for me or Abhishek?
You, I'm sure it's a question by Abhishek as well. But yeah.
Yeah. But in a nutshell, I think the question probably is more around also, like, it is definitely for you, Ronak. But I mean, you could also talk about like what is the ROI, right? I mean, obviously, when someone pays, they essentially expect an ROI. Right? So,
if I get on the number side of it, just the number side of it, I'm just being very blunted. So you would need at least one person to manage all of these details. You would require one of MIS person to manage all of your details. Okay, and that too, you would have to be always dependent upon him or her for the things. Obviously, no questions asked. And that also there can be so many human errors, because we know that when we are hiring for these roles in the starting, or when we are hiring for MIS roles, the people are not very pro at it. That's an industry standard. I'm just being blunt. So that's you would need to train people. You would need to invest your time. You would need to invest your money. You would need to invest your skills all together to basically, after 2-3 months, you would start getting the fruit. Okay, and that too, you are not very sure that the person is going to stay for a very long time. Lead score is something which you will, if you have opted for the services, definitely you're going to use it for some years. So if you're going to implement it yourself, that would be like a game changer. I don't know what the cost is because I have been a beta tester, I would say, and we have the maximum wala package in Teachment and MyGate. So yeah, I didn't know that what's the costing, but yeah, definitely I know that it would be really less as compared to hiring a new analyst altogether who would be doing just these tasks. Okay, and it's always better. So we are going towards something where basically that we should be self-reliant. So I feel that if your system is self-reliant and it doesn't require any other kind of analyst, and the system can give you the numbers right away, right there itself, without any, I would say, error, or without any human error, then it's worth investment. Yeah.
Great, Ronak. Thanks.
That's exactly the entire thesis behind this particular product, Ronald, right? So I think you just said the entire rationale that we picked to essentially build this product. So that makes complete sense. Yeah. And on to sorry, please go ahead.
In fact, we had, just saying, in MyGate, 3 people who were doing that task. In Teachment, we have 2 people doing this task. Just seeing everything, doing everything manually, maintaining sheets. And the thing is that, see, the things are not live.
Correct. Exactly.
When you go on scale, live is something which is very important. Like
live is visible to everyone.
Yeah, I am Teachment currently. I've seen the company going from 100 employees to 800 employees right now. And same happened with MyGate. I had seen it growing it from like 500 to, let's say, 3,000 people altogether. And basically, I could see that live becomes something which is very important, because you would like to see the numbers live. There would be so many things happening on the ground that you wouldn't even realize. So that's very important. You get live numbers, I would say right numbers, and you get something which you can rely upon easily.
Essentially, actually, yeah, because I think the major factor. Sorry, Abhishek, yeah, please go on.
I wanted to say, I wanted to just consolidate what Ronak said. 3 very interesting words: live, write, and rely. Amazing. I mean, yeah, yes. So
That's real, yeah, that's there.
yeah, that definitely is true, and that completely aligns with what we aim to build here. Yes, definitely. Yeah, please go ahead, Siddharth.
Yeah, so those were really kind words, Ronak. But I mean, I just want to emphasize on the fact that the kind of errors that creep in when you use 3-4 MIS guys, and the kind of sheets, the number of sheets they are preparing, right? Because
yeah, that's again a big task altogether. So many sheets. Every month would have a new sheet, or let's say a new spreadsheet, or it becomes so confusing. At the end of the day, you don't have basically, I would say, primitive data. You would keep finding on sheets. I wanted to know one thing, Siddharth. I don't know whether this is there in this current module or not. If I can save for example, if I can make YTD numbers or MTD numbers. For example, month on month, if I want to see the progress, let's say if you want to see how many target Ronak has achieved, like target versus achievement in month-wise comparison, can we do that?
Yes, absolutely. That functionality is absolutely available.
Even I don't even have to make pivots then.
Correct. Yeah, that's what we want, right? Our major competition is Excel here, right? Right, Abhishek.
So literally, I don't require any kind of Excel. Then I feel.
Yeah, that's something that we want.
Excellent inefficiency, I would say, Siddharth.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think Siddharth, you have covered the entire ground, and I think Ronak has definitely added a lot of things that essentially we, in fact, plan to ask Ronak. He himself has added those. So that way, I don't have any questions for Ronak. But as a matter of fact, just as a closing note, Ronak, would you like to just add something?
Yeah, I would like to conclude this part. I would say.
Yes,
please. So
please.
I've seen this part, like this particular module being developed from last 1 year. And I have given inputs myself. I have seen Siddharth working day and night for the module, and I have seen you guys working out. And I have seen that this is actually, when I said it's the future of basically Lead Square, because I was able to feel that something was different. Okay, I was able to feel that it's easy to set up. You don't require someone who's like a pro like me. For example, I feel I can make automations, I can make forms, I can make processes, I can write custom codes, I can do anything in Lead Square. But you're gonna replace me at the end of the day. But I would say that the way it has been developed, everything has been kept in mind, and UI is something which is the upcoming thing. See, CRMs are not being implemented by small companies. Why? Because they need someone to implement. It becomes difficult for them to maintain, and it's quite expensive for them. Because every time, if they want to change, there's a cost involved. Okay.
Correct.
Now,
Correct.
if the people would have modules like these, which is like a no-code platform, or I would say DIY platform kind of thing, it would be very easy for them to basically onboard themselves, and it would be very easy for themselves to maintain their data easily, no questions asked. And yeah, I would say that the product is really awesome because I've been using it, especially this module. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I haven't interacted much with Ronak, but Siddharth, you have interacted. And Ronak, you have touched my heart. Thank you for such kind words, and really appreciate all the genuine points and genuine feedback that you have given us, and all the things that you have talked about Lead Squad and ACE in general. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ronak, it was lovely sharing stage with you, right? And happy to have you on board. And yeah, stay connected, stay safe, buddy. Thank you again for your kind words.
Thank you so much. It was really wonderful listening to all the kind words you had to share, Ronak, and like basically honest feedback, and that's what we want.
I would rather say that it was a honest feedback. That's why, in fact, I had a question about the pivot. I asked it here itself. So I asked it like on the live session itself that that the module has that's what I'm saying, that the idea behind it and the people behind it have given their mind, I would say. So Siddharth, just wanted to know one thing from my side, like when are you going to launch the second version of it? Like when is the 2.0 coming?
Yeah, so you have any doubts related to versions, features, please feel free to call Abhishek even at 12 in the night, right? Behind the wheels. But yeah, I mean, all jokes apart, yeah, very soon, probably this week itself, we are going to launch a V2, right, which will have tons and tons of features, right, that are still not there. Plus, there's a lot of exciting things that are planned for the rest of the year. And we've got incentives coming, and then we've got a lot of gamification coming.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So gamification is going to come in mobile as well. So guys, a small glimpse for you all of what's going to come.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be mobile as well, right? I mean, it's already there in the mobile, right? So it'll be really convenient for all of the feet on street teams to actually, see the rest of their targets, and the managers don't have to call them and bug them all the time, right? So which maybe Ronak yourself will be doing right now with his team. Not sure, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
So I have a question here, and it's actually been raised here, and I'm going to be partial towards her because I'm in marketing myself. So Mitali here asks, at present, ACE Goals is created for sales. Can we expect something from marketing as well? And this is from me. So Abhishek, Siddharth, do you have anything as exciting for marketing as well?
Actually, to be very honest, Shibani, right? I mean, this particular tool is not just restricted to sales, right? We cater to a lot of marketing use cases as well, right? Let's say there's a very small team of just 2 or 3 people who are managing the entire marketing, maybe the social media campaign or the SEO campaigns, right? All is essentially basically, and at the end of the day, what is marketing? It's basically ROI. You invest, say, $10 and you expect, say, for example, 100 leads or 1,000 leads or probably X amount of business, right? All you're supposed to do is, there are these 3 people who are handling the marketing team. You tag that essentially as saying that, okay, I want to track basically lead generation or lead generation from a particular source, right? And you'll be able to do that. So just in a nutshell, the idea is that this is not just restricted to sales teams. It is definitely and as good as useful for marketing teams as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. You made me happy.
To add one more point, I think we track anything and everything that's there in numbers, right? Abhishek? So be it sales, be it marketing, I think it's agnostic. We have been tracking goals such as campaign performance, and then how is a particular, which sources are generating more leads and all of that, right? So Mitali, happy to connect with you.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
All right. We will have to end the session though in like the next 30 seconds or so. I know you all have a lot of questions which have not been answered, and due to the essence of time, and there's so many of you, we couldn't take it up. But I promise you, we will have an account manager or a sales rep reach out to you very soon because we have a record of everything you've asked. So don't worry about that. We will reach out to you really soon, by tomorrow for sure. With that, I think we can end the session. Lovely talking to you, Ronak. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
feedback. Always looking to learn, keep learning from our customers.
Yes. Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot,
much.
Ronak. Thank you for joining.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Ronak.
you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you,
Let's stay safe.
Siddharth, for a wonderful session. Bye. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care, Ronak.